on the planet, and we really felt we were too. Because we were doing what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it. You know, as life went on, and it got more complicated as people were growing up, and there was dealing with
schools
and personalities and all kinds of things like that. But just the business of getting the well. One of the things that was really exciting for Dad and me was that this was a small enough area, a small enough community, so that if you saw the need for something, if you worked hard enough, you could get it done. Well, the first thing was that I was persuaded to run for the school board. So I was a member of the school board for a number of years, and tried to improve the local schools as much as possible, but it became apparent that that was not going to be the answer for you guys. But I also was the one who was from Hancock, who was responsible for helping form 9 towns around into one school district. And that was an enormous change in the area. Then Dad, because having injured his knee when he went on that naughty escapade when he was at the sanatorium before the operations and everything, he didn't ski, downhill ski, but he wanted to get exercise. So that's why we got some friends together and built the first indoor tennis court in the state of New Hampshire. And then when it became apparent that you boys particularly were not thriving in the local school, I mean, that business of, oh, Mom, I've got a terrible stomach ache. Well, dear, just go to school, and if it really continues bad, have Mrs. Rogers, or whatever her name was, give me a call and I'll come and pick you up. But having to do that with 2 boys, practically every day.
Did we both do it?
One or the other, or both. It was just incredible. And it seemed like a terrible thing to send you off to sit in that little school for 6 hours a day. You were active, busy, interested kids, and there was so much to learn in the world of nature that you had, been involved with. There's so much going on. You were both miserable there. And Dad said, we have to do something or leave and move to Northampton, because Smith College had a wonderful elementary school. In fact, Dad did the design of the Smith College elementary school, but it was a very interesting school. And the idea of leaving and moving to Northampton was terrible. So we knew that Aunt Tony and Uncle Jay had always dreamt of having their own school, so Dad wrote to Uncle Jay in Alaska and persuaded them to come down. But it was so you want to do something about the school system, you work at it, and you want to get some winter exercise indoors, you build a tennis court. It was just, there were just lots and lots of things like that in the community that we were involved in and felt we could do something about. So it's pretty exciting. Anyway, I have never regretted living here rather than in some burb someplace.
Do you remember how you first got involved in McDowell Colony?
Yes, very well. Because when Dad had his ribs removed and was back at Gaylord's Farm Sanatorium, I read about a book called, something in Italy. I have it out there. How could I forget? Anyway, I had gotten the book and was totally astonished because it was written by a guy who'd had a Fulbright in Italy a few years before Dad's, and the experiences that he'd had studying there and being with Italian people, and it was a love letter to the Italian people. It was so similar to our so many of our experiences that I just couldn't believe it. And I read it out loud to Dad when he was, like this, unable to hold up a book or do anything when he was recovering from the operations. And the first winter, we lived in Hancock, up on the old Antrim Road in Dorothy Leyland's house. She's the lady who went to follow the route of Alexander the Great in the Volkswagen, and for whose daughter Dad designed the Persian palace, remember, in Iran?
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
Oh, I thought that was for the son of the Shah or something.
it was of the previous Shah, not the Shah that
Right.
that was alive here. It was the previous Shah. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But anyway, that was how that connection all came. So we were living in her house, and I bought the Peterborough transcript and was reading it one day. And they used to have a list of who the new people coming to stay at the colony were. And I saw Nick Kubley. American in Italy was the name of the book. And so I wrote the first and only fan letter of my life to him at the colony and said, we read this absolutely extraordinary book that echoed so many of our experiences. And so we got together, and immediately, we got on beautifully. And he was the one who thought you were the one who was going to be president of the United States.
Slightly off mark there.
Yeah. So that was in 1956. So we've been involved.
Oh, wait a second. I was born in 58.
I know.
Oh, later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this was right after Tara was
Yeah.
born that we got together with Nick, and then he came back many, many